Ah yes, Dakar, the 24 Le Mans of rally, a great stretch of brutal desert relocated from Africa to Saudi Arabia with mud, rocks, and rocks. How do I know this? Because I game. I video game, kid, before you're out of the womb. And just for your information, you're looking at a future Dakar simulator mode champ on a Raptor ATV running on French fry grease. I'm already flying towards the next cap before I've even registered my last note and stopping at McD's for some fuel. They can only penalize me so much for going 200 through the drive-thru. I'll make up this 2 hours before I get out of the gate, loser, because I have one $5 Patreon subscriber, Joseph. Hello, everyone. This is Dylon ND, also now a dad. Sorry about the wait, and welcome to a new review. And would you look at that? I'm reviewing a game that has cars in it, expanding my Forza Horizons. But don't worry, there's still motorcycles. The moment I heard Tipsy drop your logs off at the pool simulator was making a Dakar game, I got sand in my TLDR time. Arabian Nights Rally Simulator is good. It runs a bit like a fat kid, but there's rally here for everyone. Between your busy dad arcade mode, all the way up to a grueling sprint across the desert for the sweats. Dakar is a sweep of fresh sand in the comb of current racing games, and it has some of the best vehicle presentation and damage, period. Sand in mind, I only had a few crashes, but nothing that made me want to throw my keyboard like a German kid. Maybe that's because Nvidia G-forced my wallet into a 30 series. Just kidding, I've actually had the game crash on simulation mode at the finish line after a 40-minute rally. Either way, you will notice micro-stutters and strange light effects, and the occasional crash or two, but it didn't throw me in the mud too much. Now for some physics. Dakar suffers from trying to be smack between arcade and simulation. A jack of all trades is a master of none, just like Isle of Man TT2. I don't think it's a bad thing that they're trying to make everyone happy. You'll be less focused on driving, because most of the game is trying to keep the throttle pin following your notes without smacking a rock, you nerd. You are the Tracer Runner. It's all about finding the path of least resistance. Physics are very different depending on the vehicle. Bikes are crazy quick and easy to thread, but if you crash, God help you. Keep in mind this isn't GP bikes, so bike handling is a slight step above arcade, and they have the tendency to randomly spin around in circles, but you'll just be thankful you didn't bin it and get a 30-second penalty. ATVs are like bikes, floaty and spinny. They also are slower and a bit more wonky, so probably nightmare fuel for most. The cars are the focus and fast as hell. They have a ton of grip and they are the source of the blistering Dakar times. Because to be number one, you will need to full send them off cliffs. There is also a feelable difference between all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars, and the latter love stepping out on corners and are more challenging to drive. Trucks. No, I'm not talking about your dad's F-150 that he never uses the bed on.
Don't put the groceries back there, you'll scratch it. That's why I got the Super Crew registered trademark cabin.
But Dad, you got the 3.3 liter V6. The resale value is awful.
Trucks. Saber's specialty are really big fun. When you carve the perfect path through the environment and chase ants down and run them over, you will finally feel pleasure. They also like to roll. And finally, stacks, which are also known as side-by-sides in the States. It's just one gear go. They're easy to drive, so if you're a beginner, I recommend starting here. Although they struggle getting up big hills due to the horse ponies, which AI get up just fine. It's annoying and I wish I could mod it. As far as road surfaces go, sinking into mud or hitting ice would have been a nice feature, and I wish the surface of the road had more of an impact on handling. Maybe in Dakar 2, controls are plentiful but floaty and require some tweaking. I tried using a keyboard maybe for a minute before I realized I would need to blow the dust off my Xbox controller. In career, as I said earlier, there are 3 modes. We can ignore arcade because it's really just for busy dads, just like Tarkov single player. Professional is the meat and potatoes. You'll be doing sections of the track at a time and attempt to be fastest overall when it's all raced and done. Eventually, you will unlock simulation, check advanced physics, and get ready for the time sink, you sweat. This should have been unlocked from the start without the grind, and the overall speed limit in this mode sucks. Keep in mind, Dakar Desert Rally is no Richard Burns rally, so those who are looking for an extreme driving sim should probably download Abandonware. Gameplay-wise, Dakar is really all about land nav, so if hearing that word gives you a Mass Effect, or makes you think about finding your sector in Arma, then this game is for you. Every rally is a staggered start, and all you've got is the 4 C's: cards, caps, compasses, and the co-driver's flat voice to get you to the end. It was a missed opportunity to have Steve Bloom, Cortana, or Gianni Matrigrano be your co-pilot. Cap is a compass bearing where north is 0. It tells you basically where your next waypoint is, so you'll spend most of your time lining your vehicle with said cap and flooring it. Failing to do this, you will miss your checkpoint and have to give yourself a rims racing jobby instead of the pretty flag girl who only hangs out with first place. Half of the game is finding out where exactly you need to be, and often it's presented pretty mid on some tracks and god-awfully on others, no cap. Like everything 100 meters off. Or this fun predicament. Your co-driver just said follow traces. Which one? What are traces? I don't know. You'll start figuring out what the voice in your head means by leaving track, traces, and road, and ignore some of the crazy advice they give and go with your gut. You also better be good at looking at simplified images and inferring path through a 3D environment. And when your co-pilot says leave track, for real on God, you better immediately zap to whatever no cap is next. Worst case scenario, you can wait for some AI to come through and follow them. Some of the goofiest checkpoints require this. I've made a YouTube short if you need a better breakdown. If you blast your expensive machine into rocks too many times, you might need to fix it mid-rally, which can incur huge time penalties. It's best to fix up your vehicle before each leg, unless you're a cheap goofy goober like me and want to see just how far you can leg your sussy suspension before it asks to be put down. And just like in the Isle of Man, again I found out the hard way what they mean by speed limit, because it turns out you can't go 120 through Dakar neighborhood and accidentally run over the blind kid. As you play through career, you unlock new rooms and rallies. The best vehicles have the most horsepower, which means the rest are motor weights. You'll really notice this with the Yamaha bike. There is tuning, but it doesn't make a difference. The classic vehicles suffer from this as well, but they do look cool. It's a letdown that you can't make all vehicles competitive in each class. Steam Workshop, please. Graphics-wise, I think Saber did an amazing job on the vehicle models, camera views, onboard animations, and environment. It's the best part of the game. The presentation on vehicles is fantastic. I mean, look at all these onboard cameras, and the damage physics are amazing too. And as the vehicles go through a rally, they'll rip apart until there's hardly anything left but a grain of sand. No dumb license agreement here. The cockpit animations are the best I've ever seen in a video game. Cockpit award-worthy. Look how the driver interacts with the controls. The sprawling Saudi Arabia desert, mud, rocks, water, and lens flare are impressive. Fog and snow changes things up a bit too. I love the dirt effect building up on the windshield as well. And there's even a dedicated button for windshield wipers. Sound is really good. Vehicle engines change depending on if you're running a i6 diesel or a Howling LS V8. You even hear the road underneath you and a big smash when you run over that endangered iguana looking for his final nut. Combined, sound graphics along with vehicle presentation and damage really stand out amongst a bland industry of copy and paste, and I commend Saber for the attention to detail. The music is generic Michael Bay fare. ChatGPT is decent. It's fun to see them all rallying parallel with you, no matter if they're passing you or running you over. Do not hit them though. They're basically made out of 10-ton bricks and will absolutely send you into the bushes. Don't worry, you're not responsible for 9/11. Post-launch, they added a Freeroam mode, which is okay. In it, you're just after the Flying Dutchman's buried treasure like Mr. Krabs. There's not much else to do, and if you crash on your bike, it takes you back to spawn. Mod support. We all know Saber launched 1 million DLCs for Snowrunner, and they have plans to do the same with the car. So, you know if you're okay with this or not. I think the base game gives you plenty of content for the money, so don't sand it. You're just trying to get from A to B as quick as possible in your cool-sounding truck. I very much enjoyed my time in the desert, despite what the Steam reviews say. If you like physical pain and never-ending torment, like visual landmarks and degrees, then I wholeheartedly recommend Dakar Desert Rally.